Have you ever thought to yourself, there's got to be an easier way to generate more high-value clients than having to build sophisticated sales models, sales funnels, follow-up campaigns, webinars, and on and on and on? Well, if that's true, then you're going to love this segment today. This segment today is the 5-step high-growth sales solution. It's for high-value masterminds, coaching, events, high-level experiences, and a whole lot more. Now, why this is so critically important today is because, our clients, your clients, my clients are smarter than ever before, right? They're more educated, they're more savvy potential clients, right? And they want to be able to buy things. They don't want to have to be sold things. Would you agree? Right? That's really, really critical. There's a big difference between creating a buyer's model or a buyer's culture and a selling model and a selling culture. This is about building a buyer's model. See, you'll burn out your potential clients if you sell to them every single day, right? And so there's a better way. There's a new way to be thinking about how to go about this. And this new way is really about 3 simple steps. Now, truth be told, I didn't invent these 3 steps here. I believe I heard this first from Gary Halbert, and the late, great Gary Halbert. And he says, you've got to identify a hungry market. You've got to go then find a hungry market, and then you've got to feed a hungry market. Pretty simple, right? So let's show you how this works in application. Our 5-step model today that we're going to talk about evolves around those critical couple things. So number 1, it's about being able to make an invitation, right? And the way we make invitation is to pique someone's interest first before we then put out an offer in this kind of situation. If they raise their hand and say yes, and they fit the criteria we're looking for, what do we do next? We then look to introduce a screening process. And there's a couple steps to the screening process. So we do some screening. And oh, by the way, I'm going to show you some real live physical examples here in a second. So you're going to want to check this out. Number 3, as part of the screening process, is we give them an assessment, right? Now, you might call this a survey, you might call this a questionnaire, you might call this an audit, you might call this an application. There's many different names and flavors for this, but it's essentially an assessment. That leads us to being in a place where if they said yes and they still fit the criteria, they book a session. This could be a call, it could be a strategy session, or whatever you might call this as it relates to talking to someone on your team. Last but not least, you talk to them, right? So you have an enrollment conversation, right? Where ideally they're buying into what you're offering. You're not having to sell them into what you're offering. Now, when done right, there's a couple things that happen with this. Number 1, you have the ability to make a bigger impact. It has an impact for that person going through this process as well. And it gives you the ability to be able to make more money, generate more sales, generate more growth and profitability, which is probably what you want to do building your business, right? And the beauty is this isn't like you do this one time a year. This is something that can be repeated over and over and over again, depending on what you might offer in your products, programs, or services. You could be offering coaching with this. You could be offering group programs. You could be offering events. You could be offering consulting, masterminds, done-for-you programs. You could be testing programs like Founders Program, pilot programs, and a whole lot more, as well as specialty, high-value experience. It works, and it can work for you too. See, imagine, depending on your suite of products or services, being able to make an offer about every week to 10 days, rotating through the different types of things. And this will make more sense as we walk through this. Now, let me share just a couple quick case studies. When we work with our private clients, they sign NDAs. And so I won't mention the names of these clients, but it'll just give you a little bit of a flavor. You might be thinking, well, I don't have a big list. I don't have a big following. I don't have a lot of programs. All of that, we're going to debunk that here in a second, show you how simple it can be for you to put this in place today, ideally. So case study number 1, their offer was for a hybrid training course along with some personal training or group training that would go along with that. Pretty simple to be able to do. Now that product and course was how to grow your business using something called alliances or joint ventures, a lot of different terms for it, or even, we could even consider this to a degree, a higher value affiliate program, right? Now they sent this out to their internal list. They identified the segments of the list to send it to. They got over 60 people when they made this invite raised their hand and said, yes, I would love to be interested in something like this. And long and the short of it is they did about $60,000 in new business in roughly 14 days from thin air. Now, by the way, this in addition to all the other things they have going on in their business. This isn't like one thing that you do only. This is in addition to what you do daily, which is why this is such a simple and fun model to work with. Case study number 2, this is with a doctor who happens to work with doctors in regenerative medicine. He works with people who are alternative health procedures, right? Typically cash type things, which sometimes are a little bit challenging. So his list is a small engaged list, and his offers for this were coaching and mastermind, right? So he followed the process. He sent it out to their list. In addition, they segmented who they would send it to, identified who that was. They had only about 15 people raise their hand, right, out of the segmented list. They made their invitation. They generated about 5 to 6 new clients and generated about $95,000 in business in about 14 days following the process, which we're going to show you the process, by the way. I'm not going to tease you with this. We're going to show you step by step what this process is so you can use it. Case number 3. This is someone you probably know of, a very high profile expert, high profile company, and they will just say are focused in the leadership space as well as the business growth, right? Business growth and leadership. Now, the offer that they chose to work with and make this invitation to was for private consulting, and then a pivot happened, and I'm going to speak to that pivot here in just a second. So what did they do? They identified who they would send it to. They sent it to segments of their list. They had about 65 people that responded, right? So they made the invitations to those 65 people, and then here's what happened. Right in the middle of this, COVID hit, right? So they had to pivot. However, there were people that were already raising their hand and interested. They ended up generating about $60,000 in business, and then they pivoted to actually offer a webinar, an education-based webinar. What happened? They did over $200,000 in business from the combination of the webinar plus this offer, which is kind of neat. So let's walk you through this model. Real simple. Again, just to give you the framework so we stay clear on what this 5-step model really represents, right? Step 1 is we invite people, we pique their interest. Step 2, we're going to do a little bit of screening. Step 3 is they fill out an assessment. Step 4, you book a session. Step 5 is there's an enrollment conversation, right? So you can have a bigger impact, reach, and so on. So let's dive into the start of this. This is the very beginning. Now, you'll have to make a decision on what are the things to fill in the gaps here for what it is that you offer. Now, ideally, you can choose what works best for you, like numbers of people, what is the potential offer that you're going to make, etc. But this particular one worked really, really well. This was something we've done internally for a couple years now, and every time we do it, it generates us about 6 figures, which is kind of neat. So, and then we have others that we rotate around. So, work together one-on-one, right? Hey, name, we're looking to work with up to 7 people in an exclusive program where we work together one-to-one. If this is a fit, we'll work privately to help you solve your biggest business challenges. You'll get one-on-one help, accountability, customized strategic blueprint, and more. As this is personalized, high touch, and customized, we only work with up to, in this case, it was 7 additional people. Interested? Reply back and we can get you the details. Thank you, right? So pretty simple. Would you agree? It's conversational. There's no sales page needed. There's no long copy. There's no sophisticated sales copy or funnels or whatever. It's a simple email. Get someone to raise their hand. You can send this in text. You can send this, if you've got a good relationship with somebody, in other social media platforms. That leads to step 2 that we talked about, which is the screening process, right? So when they respond, right, and you get that person who raises their hand, what do you do next? You respond back, right? Hey, that's awesome. We can get you some more info. Can you share the following? What's your main website? How long have you been in business? And can you tell us a little more about your business? And what's the number one thing that you want help with right now? And whoever would sign off, whether it's you could have an assistant run this. You could have a virtual assistant run this. You could have an outsourced assistant run this. There's many different ways to get this done. Really, really simple. If they send back the info, and if you like the info and you feel that they're a good fit with your criteria based on how they submit that information back, now you go to step 3, which is to invite them to fill out a deeper assessment, right? Hey, first name, that's great. Looks like you're having fun and making an impact. I imagine it might be enjoyable to work with you and see how we can help you. You can fill out this quick assessment. Once we get it, we'll look it over and send you a calendar invite to schedule a conversation. Sound good? Go here to complete the assessment. Now this is a URL, right? And that would come from, the person. So really, really simple, really powerful. Now you might go to, well, Dan, okay, you said you were going to share the process. Let me guess, you're not going to tell us and show us the assessment. No, I'm going to show you that too. Why? Because I want you to get success from this. Now, here's what you should know about the assessment. This is our assessment. Don't copy it. Don't knock it off, right? You'd be violating copyright protection stuff and other intellectual property. However, I'm sharing this with you to show you how simple this is. We designed this for our specific need and the solutions we provide for our particular clients. So you want to do the same. Here's a couple key criteria with your assessment. You're going to design it so it takes less than 3 minutes to fill out. Number 2, make it multiple choice. Make it easy for them to go through. Make it super simple, right? So a couple critical things, right? You're going to get their email address. You get their name, right? Let me go through it a little bit more. What's your business? Then you're going to ask them to enter the website. In this case, by the way, again, this is ours. Don't knock this off. Don't copy it or what have you. This is a model, and ideally you're going to fill in the blank for what problems you solve for your potential clients versus what we do for our particular clients, right? In our case, how many team members, our services or products are unique compared to anyone in the market, a low of 1 and a 10. Most of the time people fill out about a 5 or a 6 when we work with them. We have a clear message to attract our ideal clients. Most of the time we're seeing somewhere between 4 and 7 with the different assessment info that we're getting. We have a specialized and focused advertising system that brings us a steady stream of potential clients every day. Most of the time this is somewhere between here and there. We are clear about who our perfect clients are, and we're selling our products and services to them. Usually it's somewhere between here and here. We have one core premium price product, and you get the idea, right? We have a steady flow of clients coming to us daily. Usually this is somewhere between 5 and 7. Now, can you see, by the way, how valuable this info is, not only for you, but for them to really get clarity and certainty and focus on their business? So we've had people tell us that through this assessment, they learn more about their business through this assessment than many high-priced courses that they've taken, which we love. It's a great privilege. So you're creating a great experience for your potential clients to go through, right? We have a steady stream of clients who buy our programs daily. My business is high growth, high profit, and high impact right now. We're meeting 1 year from now, and you could wave them at what would happen. And what have you learned by going through this assessment? Now, by the way, that's a really powerful question to ask. If there was one thing that I would suggest you could model, it would be that. In other words, you could put into yours, taking from ours or borrowing from ours, that one question, because it's powerful and it really puts light on the focus of what's going on. Now, they fill out the assessment. If you like the info that they've filled out, you like where they're at as a business and you want to go deeper, guess what you do? You invite them to a call, and this is the simple follow-up. This is an example of that follow-up. That's how simple this is. Very conversational. This isn't long copy. This isn't, a bunch of sophisticated stuff. It's simple, right? Hey, we noticed your assessment came through. Looks like there might be an opportunity to help you. Let's go ahead and look at scheduling a conversation. Go here to schedule your time, right? The URL, and you drive them to a calendar booking link. Now, I'm going to show you our version so you can see it firsthand, exactly what we do. And also when we work with our private clients, this is what we recommend, and most of them follow through on what we suggest. Now, let me also speak to another elephant in the room. You might say, well, what if someone isn't a fit? What do you do then? How do you leave them in a good place? So I'm going to show you that here. So we like to provide value regardless. So if it's not a fit, hey, so-and-so, we noticed that your assessment came through. Based on the info you submitted, it appears that our offering may not be a fit. Again, this is customized to what you might be offering. Although it's not a fit, since you took the time to go through the process, here are a couple valuable resources many of our clients found valuable. You may want to check out our new program. So if you have a new program, you could move them into that. Based on the info you provided, this may be a better fit for you. If you'd like to learn how to streamline, right? I've enclosed a link for you. Go here to speak to one of our team, right? So this could be a simple way, and this is a way that we not only use, but also we've had our private clients use that works really, really powerful and leaves people in a good place. And sometimes a year later, 2 years later, for those that weren't a right fit today, they end up coming around and they're aspiring to be a part of your world, especially if you provide amazing value on an ongoing basis over time, which is great. Another thing that you could add here is a little PS. If you'd like us to reconsider, you can go ahead and feel free to resubmit your info in case there was something left out, right? That could be another option to build in there, and we've done that as well. So it works really, really cool. Now, you might ask, well, what do I do in this call sequence? I've never really done that before. I see it a lot of places, but I don't know what works, what doesn't work. So let me show you what we found. We've been using a book a call model this way for over 20 years, right? One of the campaigns we built, which was all the way back in started in about 2003, the higher volume one we built up where we were working with over 300 clients a week using this application kind of model, this book a call kind of model. So we have a lot of experience with this. Chances are, I would venture to imagine that we're probably the most experienced group in the world at this kind of book a call model. So the book a call sequence, you have a book a call page. It is connected to give people the ability to schedule a time on the calendar. We recommend also doing a separate and second questionnaire, survey, profile, whatever you want to call it, after they fill out their info, right? And then that leads to a thank you page. Really, really simple, really basic. So let me walk you through ours. Again, this is a show and tell. So and we've used all kinds of different ones. This is one of our most recent ones. Get your customized business 360 assessment and breakthrough strategy, right? And then this is a link to the calendar, right? So they can click on there, and I'm going to show you that so you can see it for yourself, right? Oh, by the way, there's some testimonials of some of the people we've worked with and that sort of thing. So now what do? They pick a time, right? They might pick a date and time. They click on those, and what does it do? It opens up, so now they have to fill in their info to follow through on this appointment. And we've got basic things like their name, their email, their phone number, their company, their business website. Some of this is repetitive. It's also to make sure, because sometimes, if you ever worked with people, the first time they're just maybe working with you, meeting you, they're a little tentative, a little hesitant, they're not sure, they're uncertain. And so they didn't give you all the details. Now they're a little deeper in the engagement, a little deeper in the relationship. And many times we see probably 15% of info shifts slightly or changes even, right? Next is, and again, these are our questions for how we best serve people. So again, you come up with yours, right? So in our case, rate your hiring practices on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is lowest, 5 is highest. Rate your sales, rate your family and work, rate your marketing on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your current monthly profit for the business? So they can pick where they're at, right? Then it says, what's your target monthly profit for the business? What do you feel is your biggest obstacle to actually hitting your goal right now? How willing are you to invest in the growth of your business? And we give them a couple options, right? Have the financial resources, have access to the resource. I don't have the resource. This is, by the way, a really powerful question to ask in a questionnaire, especially if you're looking to work with people in your high value programs. Why is now the best time? So you get a snapshot, at least in this moment, of their actual interest, desire, and motivation. And this one is the one to copy. If you're going to copy, and I'll give you permission to this, please don't copy the others. Please don't, replicate the others, right? Model it, but don't copy. But this question, I do encourage you to copy and model, and here's why. You ever experienced or know, if you've ever run this model before, one of the common complaints we hear all the time, my show-up ratios are low, 40% show-up ratios, 40% show-up, 50%. Well, this method, for many of our clients who are using it, has gotten us closer to 70, 75, and 80% show-up ratios, which is really powerful if you're looking at growing and building your impact and growing your influence. So our growth advisor will call you at the time you choose, enter your initials, and that you promise to show up on your appointment. Isn't that simple? Right? So you get a commitment from somebody and they initial. Right? Now, if the info isn't submitted properly, what do? We don't follow up with this appointment. Does that make sense? And you'd send them that letdown follow-up message that you're not a good fit. Really simple. Again, it keeps you in a place where you're working with your ideal, perfect potential clients. It's time efficient. It also allows you to sift, sort, and screen to work with the right kind of people that you want to work with, right? Once they fill this out, they go to a thank you page. Now, there's all kinds of thank you pages. This one's a little more fancier or whatever. My team did a really great job setting this up. But you can just have something that says, congratulations, your info's been received, and we'll follow up with you in the next 48 hours with some more details, right? Keep it simple, especially if you're brand new getting this going. Now, what is the next step in this, right? It's the enrollment conversation, right? It's the enrollment conversation. Now, this can make or break, but done right, if you look at these 4 steps up till now, if you've done this right, they've more bought in than you having to sell. So now you can truly have a great conversation about them, their business. It's more of an interview. It's more of an enrollment where they're buying in versus you having to sell them, especially if you do it right. And done right for products anywhere from a couple thousand to up to 50,000, we've seen with the right kind of approach that you can and will enroll upwards of 4 out of 10 people you would talk to, which is pretty phenomenal. And it's a great experience for everybody involved. Allows you to grow and scale simply. So how would this approach impact you getting it in place? How many more people would you be able to impact by eliminating all the complex funnels and models and follow-up and all this sort of stuff and just utilize something like this? Or in addition to what you're already probably doing, rather, you just implemented this once every week or two, right? With some new invitation, some new option. Here's why this also is important. Is timing important in your life? It's also important in your client's life. They do things for their reasons, not our reasons, right? So, I think I first heard this from Dan Kennedy. He said the difference between lettuce and garbage is what? It's timing, right? It's timing. So even though it may not be a fit today, because you're cool, because you're providing value, because you're someone who comes from contribution, if you're doing it that way and you're doing it right, the timing can shift. And because you're cool, they'll want to work with you. And it's also another way to let people know what you actually have, like your suite of services, programs, and offerings in a cool way. And you're only putting your offer in front of people who raise their hand. Not all your offers this way, but for your high value programs and services, a great way to go about it instead of fire hosing people, right? Because like we said, if you sell people too hard, they'll burn out, right? So just to recap the model, 3 critical things. A new approach to implement. I want to be thinking, how do I identify our hungry market? How do we find that hungry market? And how do we feed that hungry market? This approach gives you an ability to do that. This model is 5 simple steps. You've got the ability to invite them by piquing their interest. You send out a message to get them to raise their hand. Then you start a screening process and an assessment, take them to book a session, and now you're in a place where you're going to have an interview enrollment conversation, right? This gives you the ability to have a much bigger impact and also will bring you a steady flow of clients and a steady flow of sales on a regular basis. Now, you might say, well, what tools do I need to pull all this off? So I put a list of tools for you. Oh, and I guess I missed one here. So you want to identify who you want to send this to. Segment your list, or you could send it to your whole list, right? And get them to raise their hand. You have to decide, what are you going to offer, right? When you send this out, you've got to know in advance, like, what are you going to offer? So just make a decision. Pick one now. And guess what? You can come back and do this in another 10 days or 2 weeks and make an offer for something else, right? So you got to know your offer. I encourage you, use the templates that we've given you and shared with you here. Model it and put it in place. You want to have an assessment. Now you might go, oh, what do I do to create an assessment? It's really simple. You saw ours. We did that in Google Forms, which is so easy to do, right? You could also use there's all kinds of platforms for this. SurveyMonkey, one of my favorites is through a friend of mine, Jeremy and Donna Berry at leadquizzes.com. You can do this sort of thing, but you have an assessment. You need a scheduler, or you want a scheduler. You probably already have one, but if you don't, or you're looking at like, what's the one you use? Let me walk through. So Calendly is fine, Acuity is fine, Appointment Core, they're all fine. The one we use, and the one I would recommend because it allows you to put the profile survey questions on the back of them booking their time, is Schedule Once, which is really simple. And then you have your enrollment interview conversation, right? So you want to probably have some outline of like how you're going to go about interviewing them and so on. So I encourage you, take action with this approach. Take action, right? If you do nothing, you're going to get nothing. If you don't try, you'll never know, right? And I will assure you, the third time you do this is going to be far more effective than the first time, right? The first time you do it, it might be feel a little clumsy. You might not. Just follow the process, even though but as you start doing this and build a rhythm, especially if you start doing this every 10 days to 2 weeks, wow, it'll be a lot of fun. You'll be like, wow, I didn't realize that generating business was this simple. It can be simple. You don't need the tech overwhelm, the burnout, and all those sorts of things that can go with that sort of thing. Apply this simple approach. So action steps. Number 1, identify who you're going to start with. Invite them. That's simple. Follow the templates we've given you and then enroll them. That's what you want to do. So the impact of this for you, excuse me, you'll find that you'll get more coaching clients. You'll enroll people in more of your group programs. You'll be able to engage people and enroll people into your events, whether they're small virtual events or maybe high-priced premium live events as well. Consulting, you'll be able to generate more members for your mastermind. You'll be able to offer and sell more things if you're a done-for-you service, an agency, a consultant, those sorts of things, or an advisor. You'll also be able to test programs. And wouldn't it be great before you fully create all the sales processes and stuff that you actually find out people would want it? So you send out your invite, you see if people are hot on it at all, what's the response, and then you can decide whether you put together very systematic or potentially complicated funnels that might be worth your, because there's nothing worse, right? Have you ever done, I know I've done this dozens of times. Oh, I got this hot offer, this hot sexy offer, and I put it out and I got crickets. That's very frustrating, isn't it? It's lame and it's disappointing. I don't want to see that happen to you. This is a new, simple way to test your offers before you go invest a bunch of time and money putting those things together. And on top of that, you can provide and offer specialty experience. So if you do any of these things, this will fit for you. If you're a coach, a consultant, an advisor, you're a service business. You're a service business who wants to offer these sorts of things in adjunct to your business to complement what you do. This can work for you. It's like really, I love this. This approach really can work. It can work for you if you put it in place. And so I challenge you, take action with this. If you do nothing, you'll get nothing, and you'll never know unless you try. And I'd encourage you, try it 5 times and then let us know the results, right? And you might be saying, well, Dan, this is awesome, but I'm still a little bit unsure. I'm still a little bit uncertain. And here's what I propose to you. If you want help with this, this is one of dozens and dozens of strategies we work with our clients to help them grow and also get more clients and also implement with far less stress, right? So if you want a situation where you can implement, you can get more clients and you can grow with less stress, then let's set up a call. Let's set up a phone conversation. Let's have a talk about your business. We can talk about some of the ways we might be able to help you. If we can't help you, we'll get you connected to somebody who can. And at the end of the day, business should be fun, right? Business should be enjoyable. Business should be lucrative. And this is an approach that gives you all of those things. It's simple, it's lucrative, it's fun. I encourage you, take action. Take action with this. And by the way, I'd love to hear how you do. And also, maybe you don't need help because maybe you're crushing it right now, but if you know another business owner or founder or CEO that would like help like this, introduce them to us, right? One of the ways you can do that is send them to breakthroughstrategycall.com or just have them direct connect. You can find us through our email pretty easily, get connected to one of our staff and follow through from there. So seize the day, make it a great week, and I hope you enjoy this. And most importantly, I hope you take action. Take action with this stuff because it'll work. It will work for you. There'd be nothing greater for a week or 10 days from now if you do this today, that you send us a message and say, Dan, I generated 6 new clients from this simple method. It generated X dollars in business, and it was simple, and it was fun, and it was enjoyable. Even though I didn't know all the things I was doing, it was simple, fun, and enjoyable. And guess what? Then you can repeat it again, and then you can repeat it again. And in 6 months from now, you're reaching back out going, Dan, I don't know why I never did this before, right? And think about it. How much more fun would you have building and growing your business by taking this approach in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? Right? Now, we can't do anything about the last 12 months if you weren't and haven't been using this method consistently, but we can about the next 12. But it starts today. So take action. Take action with it today. Apply what we've shared with you. Let me know how we can serve you and how we can help you. And I look forward to hearing how it goes. That's it for today. See you.